Let's talk about Superman.
Fuck, bro.
All right, can someone explain this to me? Because this thing went under my radar. I wasn't following it. I saw the clip and made me think, okay, crypto is going to ruin this film, definitely. But that's as far as I got with it. What are people getting bent out of shape about?
It's the pro Snyder fans. It's the pro James Gunn fans. It's the anti James Gunn fans. It's DC fandom in a nutshell. DC fandom is far worse than Marvel. Not even close.
Literally.
Just mentally.
Worse, you mean people care a lot more.
Yeah, I wouldn't say worse. They're more passionate.
Hang on. When I mean worse, I mean the passion of DC fandom is far outweighs the passion of Marvel fandom.
It always has. Have been around longer. People have been talking about this longer. Yeah.
Yes. And Superman in general. So you have, again, I just saw it today. I saw a tweet that's kind of had some decent traction. And it's like, Michael Bay kicked off of Transformers. They remake Transformers. Transformers fails. Michael Bay returns to Transformers. Boys, Zack Snyder is returning to DC at some point. Like, the Snyder fans are going to justify any way, and that's fine. I appreciate that they're so passionate. And then you have the James Gunn side of things. And James Gunn has done his own damage to all of this by he has definitely fanned the flames on all of this. He knows what he's doing.
For me, for that clip, I saw a lot more. Like, I don't think it was, I'm sure there's a lot of Snyder people, like Gunn people, whatever. I saw a lot more people in our space, people who aren't Snyder, whatever, just saying, this is ridiculous. Superman would never act like that. He's acting like a whiny brat. He's like an emotional man-child. I saw a lot of that shit out there. And then I saw a lot of other people with opposite take. For me, that clip, two things can be true. We have seen Superman get emotional and get upset, especially when people he cares about are in trouble or being threatened or whatever. We've seen it in comics, we've seen it in television, we've seen it in the movies. However, because so much of the marketing of this, yes, we've had little heroic moments and a one-line or two from Superman, but in terms of the dialogue, the most extensive dialogue sequences we've heard are him having a meltdown with Lois.
Yeah.
Now him having a meltdown with Lex. So I do think you can look at those, and you know what? In context, it might be perfectly fine, but that is a lot of what we've seen from the movie is that version of Superman, very emotional at the time.
My problem with
that, I think it's okay to like have these criticisms because that's what they've shown us. On the other hand, Superman does burst into people's offices, including Lex Luthor's office, if he's fucking pissed about it.
Goes off a lot.
I don't have a problem with that. Like, I think I made a tweet on it, and I got fucking people really mad about it. And I just said, like, I just want a fucking good Superman. Like this, with every piece of marketing, it makes me less and less interested in the movie. And people just went off on their own arguments in their head. You know, it's Twitter, it's what they do. But they thought I was having a problem with him bursting in and having like an emotional reaction. It's not that. It's the acting, the high pitch.
It's like, not the concept. It's the execution.
Yeah, dude, people are too fucking sensitive. Like, I love the fucking Nolan trilogy. We meme on Where's the Trigger because it's a fucking terrible fucking scene. It's okay. It's a terrible scene. And that reminded me of Where's the Trigger, and it also reminded me of Kylo Ren. He went Kylo Ren emo baby in that scene. That's what it felt like. And the execution was terrible.
There's a way that Superman could like bust in and be like, "Where's love Lex Luthor
in that scene?" By the way,
especially when he gets a coffee cup, when he sees the tables going, and he just grabs it.
And he's set this up to make Superman look like shit, right? Like this is what Lex is doing. He's making sure they're filming all this stuff. But Jeremy, you replied, everything about this scene is terrible. That's what you said on Twitter, right?
Yes.
But you don't believe that about Lex, right?
Well, no, I mean, like in isolation, that's fine. But I still look at it like he again, without the context of it, it's just that he doesn't even give a fuck that Superman's there. He doesn't even give a shit, you know? And it's just like Superman is in the beta position completely in almost every scene we've seen in this movie. He's never in command or in control or showing any confidence in almost any of the scenes that we're seeing. I'm not saying every, but the majority of scenes that we've seen, he seems to be emotionally upset, or he seems to be the person that's not in control of the situation. And that's what bothers me. Like, Lex is fine in that, but I'm not watching a Lex Luthor movie. I'm watching a fucking Superman movie, and every scene, Superman seems to be emotionally distraught.
The way the line read, the way his voice just kind of cracks, and it just doesn't. It sounds beta to me. Like I want Superman to be, even if he blows his top, like he's still a fucking man. He's still Superman.
He's
a great
contrast.
Like just on that note, Garrett, the great contrast to this is when Superman confronts Lex Luthor in the Christopher Reeve's first Superman movie. That's where he drops the line, "You diseased maniac," where he goes into, the actual layer, and he is angry, but he is manly in that.
He's measured. Mike, go ahead, Mike.
Well, to Jeremy's point, there's a reason why in every single trailer that they've released, they show the scene of him saving the little girl, because everyone universally agreed that was a Superman scene. Exactly. That's Superman that we want to see. It's him saving people. But also, for people fighting about this and arguing about it, we have 3 separate examples that are prominent in Lois and Clark, in Christopher Reeve's Superman, and in the animated series, where he confronts Lex, and Lex keeps his calm, and Superman's pissed. We literally have a scene where Superman and Lois and Clark shoots a gun at Lex Luthor to show him that he can catch the bullet before he dies. Like,
that's a great scene. That
it's a great scene, and we've seen the dynamic. So when we watch this scene, knowing that we have examples of this in the past, it doesn't feel right, because Superman feels like an unhinged maniac, and not in the way that we know Superman is capable of. Because one of the things that Superman does consistently is reminds Lex that you may not like me and you may be getting under my skin, but I'm still Superman, and that pisses you off. One of the last lines that Superman uses in Lois and Clark is to remind him to look up, because it's the one thing that Lex hates, is that everyone has to look up at him, and he has to look up at Superman.
It goes back to Ryan's original point about one of the trailers, the full trailer, about how they could have presented it. It was the one with the interview started out, and how it started out emotionally. And I can't remember word for what you said, Ryan, but you're basically like how they would have presented if he would have been saving people, if he would have been doing things heroic. And then it shifts into this where he's frustrated with the situation because he is the hero and he's doing the good, but no one really understands that. So it shows the reason why he might be frustrated, but that's not how it was presented. So I will continue to say, I thought the Man of Steel trailers were the best trailers I'd ever seen to date. Yes. And I went into that movie, and everybody knows I don't like that movie. I'm hoping that I get the reverse. I'm hoping that these trailers have disappointed me, but I go into this movie blown away. It can't happen, because I was not convinced I was going to dislike Man of Steel based on the greatest trailers I've ever seen for any movie. And I was. So I'm hoping that I have the reverse effect here.
Well, the issue with this scene is that it's so shallow, because what you're focusing on is Superman's emotions and losing it. So in Superman and Lois, there are multiple times where someone pisses him off, they go after his family, and he goes up and he's like, there's this calm, smoldering rage. And you can tell that he can do anything he wants to them, but he only uses the force that's required. And so they know they're overpowered. They know they can't stop him, but he's also really calm. And it's the quiet person who can dominate you, which is more scary. Whereas when you have Lex's side, there's actually a lot more to his scene. There's a whole bit in Wheel of Time which describes power dynamics behind chairs, on chairs, behind desks and stuff. So when he's sitting down and there's a desk in front of him, Superman is standing up, which puts him in the inferior position. The moment the desk goes, now you're looming over a guy, so you're in the inferior position. So he stands up and calmly faces him eye to eye. And all that time, Superman is coming across like a child because he can't control his emotions. If Superman walked into that place calm but still destroyed things, or just like took the desk and crushed it, it would have an entirely different effect.
Well, that's exactly like that Lois and Clark scene, and I'm glad Mike brought it up. Like when he says, "You want to see how fast I am, Luthor?" and he holds the gun, shoots, and then grabs the bullet. That's great.
Yeah, Lex is terrified because he's like, "Oh shit, she's gonna shoot me." Yeah.
I'm convinced that they just keep picking the worst takes of Cornswell.
Well, I mean,
like that's what it seems like in the trailers.
I have no problem with him as the actor.
And I hope he's great. Like I do.
I hope he's great too. But this is obviously the most scrutinized movie in a long fucking time, because it's another remake of Superman, and the biggest question has been from the beginning: can James Gunn make Superman? Because James Gunn is a little edgelord. James Gunn is the kind of guy who would see Superman as Homelander. He's never. You can't tell me James Gunn's been a lifelong Superman fan. James Gunn probably thought Superman was fucking lame before.
Yeah, I know more Lex Luthor
knowing the kind of comics that he was into, he was definitely like, Superman's lame. So, and he said it himself. He couldn't crack it. He was offered the job before, and he's all, I can't crack Superman, which means you don't understand it. We had Mark Miller on this fucking channel, and he said, oh, Superman's easy. That's the kind of motherfucker you want writing Superman.
Yes,
somebody going, I understand this character, and it's easy. And Hollywood and even DC has had a hard time with it when they've had people in the building who can totally handle writing Superman correctly. You want him to be human. That's fine. People are comparing the Man of Steel, the John Byrne stuff when he's breaking in the office. Well, the context is different. Maybe the context works with Crypto's like his last connection to Krypton. So, it's not just a dog. Although, you know what? Somebody goes after my dog, I'd be pretty pissed too. But
he says you'd be a man about it. You'd be a man about it.
Yeah. So
that's the problem.
That's the thing. To me, it is a marketing mistake to show this many instances of Superman like this.
Yeah.
Now, I fully think that within context, 100% I could be perfectly fine with the sequence, right? Especially if this and the Lois sequence are happening kind of similar times, maybe in the middle-ish part of the movie where you're seeing some of these frustrations boil over. I could be completely fine with it in context and maybe only have a handful of instances in the movie where he lets his emotions get the better of him like this. But when you're showed so much, such a high percentage of this from the marketing, because the only two real dialogue sequences we have are this and the Lois interview scene.
Yeah.
Yep.
Other than that, it's just a little one line. Hey, buddy, look up. Little things here or there. That's it.
For me,
wait, hang on. So to finish my point, no, it's all right. It's all right. It's cool. It's Friday Night Tights. I don't give a shit.
It's what we do.
With James Gunn, the marketing has been terrible. Like it has been objectively terrible marketing things. And we're trying to give it context. And while we're not criticizing this for stupid race or gender swaps, we still want this to be a good movie. The problem is all the word that we've gotten from people who've seen it, not the shills who saw it last night, but is pretty mixed bag. That it's a pretty mixed bag. It's a little convoluted. That's pretty much the general consensus. Some people are liking it for it. Some people aren't. But it can't be a James Gunn movie. It has to be, James Gunn has to kind of rise above. It can't be a Guardians of the Galaxy. This needs to be a Superman movie, which puts it on another level. This is the number one. This is the G superhero. Right. Yeah. And you can't just come in with it's okay, and this little whimsical stuff. I'm fine with them leaning into comic book shit. I'm actually for it. I've been dying to see this with a Superman movie going into some Silver Age stuff, some Bronze Age stuff. Let's fucking go. I'm ready to see this. But you still have to portray Superman like a man, like a man.
So are you saying it's almost like you have to put your ego aside and make it less stylized just to kind of give Superman his due?
James Gunn, well, this is Superman's James Gunn, but he's a hired gun on this. He still is. That's all he is playing in somebody else's sandbox with a lot of people who put in a lot of time to make this character popular for decades, almost 100 years. This character has been around. And, this is the kind of respect you need to show. It's like, I am second to Superman, but it's James Gunn obviously is putting himself up front and his style up front. And it bothers me saying that he couldn't crack this character until just a couple of years ago.
Because
really?
Because of
James Gunn's writing as a writer and all of his stuff, he tells you there are a lot of self-inserts. He goes, I put this into the movie because of this, or I made this character like this because I had a friend that was like this in high school. He put crypto
social
in
media cancellation.
He talks about it all the time in his writing, and he talks about that he's a control freak and that he doesn't like other people affecting his writing or affecting or controlling the way he does things. He also has admitted that he likes to be petty and take shots at people when he writes. All of those things are criticisms.
Yeah, we've seen over the years.
And if you're going to be the leader of DC and you're going to be rebuilding this new universe, and you like Gary said, you can't crack the fucking Superman story, then you get somebody that can crack fucking Superman story, because you hold the keys to the kingdom. Nobody else is making you do anything. You find somebody that can do it right and then give them the reins to it. But I think that the reality is James Gunn has too much ego and he's too much of a control freak, and everything has to go through him and everything has to look the way he wants it to look. And I think he probably did have people giving him pitches. He went, you know what? No, I'm just going to do it myself. Even though he didn't want to. And if you look at him in the marketing and behind the scenes, he looks fucking exhausted. He looks like he doesn't want to be here. He doesn't want to do this.
In one of the advertisements, they're all handing out drinks and he's just like frozen. I'm not even sure that Hollywood can do this, because there was an article recently about Pedro. This is the masculinity that we all want. You can't have that masculinity.
No. I was thinking about that too.
50-year-old bougie bitch. He would be so emotional, he couldn't be Superman. But the issue with Superman is he has to be stoic. He has to be a man, because otherwise Lex is correct. If he is emotional and can lose it at any time, you can't have a man that can destroy the planet on an emotional tantrum. And so he has to be in control at all times. He can be angry, but he still has to show that he's in control of that anger.
Yep. Yeah. And I'm at a point. Sorry, I'm at a point with all the marketing, and Gary's right. The marketing has just made it seem worse and worse and worse. Where from the very first trailer, I think we all said, like, maybe Superman being broken and battered will make sense in context. And then his arguing with Lois with a monster destroying things out in the back. Maybe that'll make sense in context. Maybe him losing his crap and being overly emotional with Lois will make sense in context. Maybe him acting like a child with Lex now. Well, I'm at a point where I've said it too much. This film is losing all that charity where you've made it look horrible to me. Yeah. And...
dude, as Ryan has pointed out, the cinematographer from Flash is obvious on this one, and some of the stuff just doesn't look. I saw it in a theater too. The flying scene with that fisheye lens or whatever the fuck is going, it looks terrible. It looks comical.
Haven't they changed that now?
No,
it wasn't in the film.
They changed the eye, but no, like you still like they have this weird fisheye lens when he's flying. It's like Warlock, and it bends and it makes his head look big, and it's supposed to make it look kind of kinetic, but it doesn't look dynamic. And when Superman's flying to the rescue, and you were like, yeah, let's go. No, it's like, oh, what the fuck is he flying through? It looks like he's flying through a wormhole and he's being twisted around or something like that. That aesthetically, it doesn't look good.
No, and like compare that to you say what you want about the film. In Man of Steel, when Superman flies that and he just starts breaks the sound barrier, freaking great. That was just like perfect.
Feels powerful. Superman should feel powerful.
I mean, when the little rocks start to float, when it's about to burst off, and then just roars through the sky, and the sonic boom, that was awesome.
Too bad the rest of the movie sucked.
Yeah. One of the things I do like about Superman. One of the things I do like about this movie is that it does feel like for this movie we're back to having normal conversations.
Yes, 100%.
We're superhero related. Superman act this way, would Lex act this way, like all that shit. Which those are things we've always talked about.
Dude, this goes back to the comic shop days 20 fucking years ago when Daredevil came out, and like these are normal just like ripping it apart, but like for the context of the story, for character representation, not like representation.
It's like the people that have been having to go to all for Ironheart when they've got past all the racist white people. They've all said, why do they care? Why do they care about this goofy shit? And I'm like,
gotcha, motherfucker,
gotcha right there.
I saw somebody replied to me and said, "You guys nerded out too much. You're never going to be able to enjoy it." You motherfucker, you tourist piece of shit. Get out of here.
Get out of here.
Nerded out too much.
What is? Yeah, and once again, like the thing is, the immediate go-to is you either hate James Gunn or you love Zack Snyder's stuff, and it's like, no, we have way more examples of Superman being awesome than fucking Henry Cavill Superman, and that's what everybody's kind of basing this off. And the thing is, so is James Gunn. He knows that this is an amalgamation of as many Superman properties as he can get. That's why he didn't even come up with his own original theme, because he needs you and he needs as many people as he can to relate to this Superman from their Superman. Oh, that feels like my Superman. That's what I love about this, instead of trying to do something of his own. And that's why I really do think this movie is going to be a critique of people not liking Superman, but like the fans and their arguments about it. I think it's a meta commentary on what people feel about Superman, not about this universe and what the world feels about Superman, which is why I think he's already been around for 3 years, because people have already made up their minds what he is in that universe. It's us we're the litmus test for whether or not Superman works. So
we'll find out. At least they're considering comic book fans in this one, you know, which Marvel has given up on a long fucking time ago.
Nerderotic.com. Please subscribe.